Jai Hind everyone. Further we'll be going on with the briefings. I'll be briefing you all the exam entries through which you can step into the Indian Air Force. We'll explore the plethora of opportunities awaiting you at the world's fourth largest Air Force, the Indian Air Force. Okay, so the entries or the examinations are divided here into the three categories. The very first is the undergraduate category, graduate category and the direct SSB entries. Means where you need not to give any kind of written examinations to get into Indian Air Force. So let's start today's session. So the very first, undergraduate entries, alright. Now, I'll begin with National Defence Academy. This is the examination most of you, I assume everyone watching this video knows about this examination. So, National Defence Academy is conducted twice a year in the months of April and September every year. Alright, means NDA 1 in the month of April and NDA 2 in the months of September is organized by Union Public Service Commission, that is UPSC. Now, NDA is the only examination students after class 12, or even you can sit in this examination when you are appearing for class 12, and you get the opportunity to become the class 1 rank officer in Indian Air Force through this examination. Both male and female aspirants can sit in the examination. Being eligibility of the female aspirants was in news recently, so you must be aware of it. Moving on to the criteria of eligibility, which is the most important thing you people should know. What are the eligibility criteria? Who are eligible to sit in this examination, who are not to sit in this examination, who can appear and everything. So I'll be briefing you this. The first is age. Okay, so students in mid of 15.5 to 18.5 years, means 15.5 to 18.5 is the age that is eligible to sit, to appear for this examination, that is National Defence Academy's entrance examination. Alright, coming on to the education qualification, 12th pass or appearing candidates from any board, that is CBSE, ISC, UP, any board students can appear in this examination. There are no board boundaries or the restrictions that if you are not from this particular board then you are not permissible or eligible to sit in this. That's not over here. But if you are aiming to become the pilot or joining the ground duty of Indian Air Force through ND examination, then students, you must have physics, chemistry and mathematics PCM stream in your class 12. Alright, without PCM stream you are not eligible to sit in the examination of NDA if you are aiming for Indian Air Force. Alright, now the most important is the selection procedure of National Defence Academy, how we can step into the Indian Air Force through National Defence Academy. What is the selection procedure, how examination is being conducted, who conducts the examination, NDA or the UPSC, and what is the pattern. So here is everything which I am going to explain. Okay, so the selection procedure of National Defence Academy involves the written examination, your SSB interview, medical test and all India merit list. This examination is divided into two tiers. The very first is your paper 1, that is mathematics, and paper 2, that is general ability test, also known as GAT. Alright, looking on to maths firstly, this paper duration is 2.5 hours. This paper is conducted in first meeting and the general ability test is conducted in the second meeting. So the duration of maths paper is 2.5 hours. Number of questions will be 120. Means 120 questions are supposed to be solved in 2.5 hours. The pattern is completely on 12th level. Marks 300, means the total paper will be of 300 marks, consisting of 2.5 marks on per question and 1/3 negative marking, means 0.83 will be deducted on attempting a wrong answer. Alright, now moving on to general ability. General ability, the duration is same as maths paper, means 2.5 hours will be allotted. The number of questions will be 150, marks 600. Now this paper has a division, means first 50 questions will be of English, that will be of 200 marks, and last 100 questions will be of general knowledge, which will be of 400 marks. So 200 plus 400, this question paper will be of 600 marks. containing 4 marks per question, and going again same as maths paper, 1/3 will be the negative marking. all the students clearing the cutoff of this written examination of National Defence Academy will, as I told you, as I already showed you, that the tier 2 is your SSB interview. So they have to go through this complete procedure. Now what is SSB interview? Service Selection Board students is nothing but just a test of your personality and the 3 most important domains of your personality, that is thought, mansa, speech, vacha, and your actions, karma. Alright, so SSB is all about mansa, vacha, and karma. So the shortlisted candidate of the written examination will be called for a 5 continuous days of testing of your personality, starting with the screening, means the stage 1 D-Day, day 2 psychology test, day 3 and 4 consists of your group testings, day 5 is conference. Day 5 students will be the day of your final result, alright. On day 5 it will be declared if you are selected in this interview, you are going for the medical assessments or not. This is basically known as conference in or conference out, alright. Conference out students will leave for their houses, and then conference in students goes for the medical formalities whenever asked. And then students clearing all the medical formalities as per the NDA guidelines, as per the examination rules and regulations, will then have to wait for their final names in the final merit list, and then the journey of your blood and sweat starts to National Defence Academy for 3 years at Pune, Khadakwasla, alright, and the last 1 year training will be at Air Force Academy, Hyderabad. Now coming on to the graduate entries, which you people are not eligible right now, but if you aspire to become an Indian officer in Indian Air Force even after completing a graduation, you are most welcome with all basically 2 most important entries, that is combined defense services and Air Force common admission test. You people might have heard all these names before also, I assume. Okay, now so starting with the combined defense services, that is CDS, it is again conducted by UPSC, same as NDA. Students, CDS is also based on the similar pattern as National Defence Academy. Alright, this examination just has some basic differences, but I'm going to give you the basic information regarding everything on CDS. So CDS, like NDA, is also conducted twice a year, same in the months of April and September, notifications to which comes in the month of December and May respectively, CDS 1 and CDS 2. Alright, CDS examination after graduation makes you an officer, means you have to be a graduate or be in the last semester or last year of your graduation. Alright, before that you are not eligible to sit in this examination. Now, only male aspirants can sit in this examination, no female aspirants are eligible to fill the forms for the Indian. Okay, now moving on to the criteria of eligibility, again the important slide for you people. So starting with the age, so not less than 20 and not more than 24 years, the male candidates who are not less than 20 years and not more than 24 years are eligible to fill the applications for combined defense services if you aim to become an officer in Indian Air Force. Okay. So education qualification for Air Force, same as NDA. You must be having a PCM stream at 10+2 level, physics, chemistry and maths, with individually 50% marks in your physics and mathematics, and any degree of graduation from a recognized university. You need not to have only BTech, BE, anything like that. Any BSc, BA, any people, but just in class 12, 10+2 level, you must be having PCM. Alright, the selection procedure, again it involves the major 2 tiers of examination. The very first is your written and the second is your SSB interview, followed by medical and your all India merit list. Alright, so moving on to the written examination, means your tier 1 for CDS involves your 3 question paper students. Like NDA has 2, CDS has 3. The very first is your English, second is your general knowledge, and the third is maths. So students, if you are aiming for Indian Air Force, you have to give all these 3 question papers right? It's not like you can skip any one of them. So English, duration 2 hours, number of questions 120, marks 100, marks per question 0.83, negative marking for the 1/3 goes with 0.27. Moving on to the paper 2, that is GA, the meeting second. Duration again 2 hours, number of questions 120, marks 100, marks per question 0.83, negative marking 0.27 as per 1/3 negative marking. And then paper 3, last meeting paper. Duration same, all the 3 papers have the same duration of 2 hours only. Number of questions will be 100, marks 100, marks per question will be 1 now, and negative marking is 0.33 as per the 1/3 negative marking. Again, a shortlisted candidate clearing the written examination of CDS will have to go for the testing of, I already mentioned, the 3 main domains of your personality, your thought, your speech, and your action. All right. So the 5 days again starts with the screening test, psychology, group testings at day 3 and 4, conference, and the final students finally selected in the conference route have to go to the medical formalities and then wait for the All India merit list. After seeing their names in their final merit list, they are headed to Air Force Academy for 1.5 years or 18 months of training. All right. So this was all about combined defense services. Now moving on to the second graduate entry into Indian Air Force is Air Force Common Admission Test, popularly known as AFCAT. All right. AFCAT is the computer based examination. This is not a pen paper based examination. This is completely an online based examination conducted twice a year again, February and August. All right. Both male and female candidates can apply for this examination. All right. Graduation in this examination, in your graduation students, you must be having 60% marks. All right. Without 60%, you are not eligible even to fill the applications for Air Force Common Admission Test. And again at 10+2 level, you must be having maths and physics with 50% marks individually in both of these subjects. All right. AFCAT involves 3 branches, already mentioned in this slide, that is flying branch, ground duty technical, and ground duty non-technical branches. I'll be explaining more about it later on. Okay, so flying branch through AFCAT means if you are going for the flying branch, your age should not be less than 20 years and more than 24 years, and if you are aiming to for ground duty technical or the non-technical branches, then you should not be less than 20 years and more than 26 years. All right, moving on to the criteria of eligibility. Now, the ground duty technical branch, you same as the flying branch, 50% marks each in physics and mathematics at 10+2 level, and a minimum of 4 years degree, graduation, integrated post-graduation qualification with 60% marks are required. All right, same goes with the non-technical branches of students now coming on to the selection procedure for Air Force Common Admission Test. Same like National Defense Academy and CDS, it also involves majorly your 2 tiers of examination, that is online written exam and your SSB interview, followed by medical and All India merit list. All right, moving on to the online examination. The first is your common paper. Common paper means, look, as I told, there are 3 branches through Air Force Common Admission Test: ground duty technical, ground duty non-technical, and the flying branch. So no matter if you are aiming to be a fighter pilot, if you are aiming to be the engineer, aeronautical engineer through mechanics or the electronics in Indian Air Force, or going to be the administration or the logistics department, so this paper is the common. All right, duration is of 2 years, number of questions will be 100, marks 300, means per question 3 marks, and negative marking 1. This EKT, Engineering Knowledge Test, is for the people who are individually aiming to be the aeronautical engineer in mechanical or electronics in Indian Air Force, means ground duty technical branch. So for those candidates already mentioned, duration of this paper will be of 45 minutes, number of questions 50, marks will be of 150 marks, again same marks per question allotted will be 3, and the negative marking 1. And here is the SSB again. So SSB, you must be seeing over here is the common. If you are aiming to be the officer in Indian Air Force through any entries, be it undergraduate, be it graduate, be it direct SSBs, you have to go through the same procedure. All right. Okay. Now, as I already mentioned while starting the video, these are the direct SSB entries. Means for these entries, you need not to give any kind of written examination, students. But this entries for this, these you have to be, you have to complete your graduation completely. So very first is NCC special entry. Okay, all those candidates, this is pretty exciting. All right, so all these candidates having NCC, pursuing NCC, and now they possess C certificate, they are eligible for this entry. All right, they can directly become the pilots, any branches in the flying branch through in Indian Air Force. This entry invites application from both male and female candidates in Indian Air Force. So, as I already mentioned, these are the direct entries. The shortlisted candidates will be selected on the basis of their application form and the candidates in possession of NCC seat certificate. Means if you have any other certificate, then sorry, you're not eligible for this direct entry. All right. So, shortlisted candidates will be further called for the SSB. As usual, the same procedure for any SSB you're sitting in will be the same. Test of 5 continuous days, the test of your 3 domains of personality, thought, speech and action, and the same. Okay, and the notification comes in the months of August and September. So, the criteria of eligibility, again 20 to 24 years, and mid of 20 to 24 years if you are, then you can apply for this entry. For flying branch, basically 60 marks in your graduation is required, with physics and mathematics individually 50% max. Means if you have less than 50 marks in physics and less than 50 marks in mathematics in at 10+2 level or at grade 12, then you are eligible only. If you don't have that, then you are not eligible for this. Okay, so basically not much important entry, but still I have mentioned all these because for your knowledge. Okay, this is meteorology department details, invites application from all the male and female candidates or the aspirants in Indian Air Force. So the age should be in mid of 18 to 25 years, all right. Okay, you should be having a PG degree in any subject of science stream, mathematics, statistics, geography, ecology and environment, with minimum of 50% max aggregate in post graduation. All right, if you are having less than 50% max in post graduation, you are not eligible, but you have to focus on this also. According to this, you have to be in mid of 18 to 25 years. All right, notifications comes in the month of June. Details are here on the slide, people can go through. Okay, so the career in Indian Air Force might be full of challenges. People are always walking throughout the death, throughout the fire. You say you are not having that lavish life like corporates or any of the n number of careers available to you, but this is the career where you work with pride, where you are remembered because of your valor. So this makes all the difference. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Greetings everyone, welcome to season 2 of the Martiniere Careers Fair. Today we will be interviewing an eminent personality in the field of Air Force and discussing how you can build a career in the same. With us today, we have Air Marshal Ajit Bhavnani, Param Vishisht Seva Medal, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, Vayu Sena Medal for Gallantry. Air Marshal Ajit Bhavnani was commissioned in the Indian Air Force as a fighter pilot on October 1966. After completion of schooling at the prestigious Martiniere College, Lucknow, in December 1961, he joined the NDA. During his 40 years of distinguished service, his performance was that of an exceptionally high order, having served in a wide range of key appointments in India and abroad. During the 1971 Indo-Pak War, he was posted in the eastern sector flying MiG-21 aircraft. He flew 22 operational missions into the enemy territory, which involved counter-air and army support missions against the enemy. His outstanding contribution to the war effort was recognized and he was later awarded the Gallantry Vayu Sena Medal. In 1976, he completed the Fighter Combat Leaders course at IAF's Top Gun Unit, TACD. In 1984, having proved his exceptional professional abilities, he was selected to lead IAF's team to France to fly the new Mirage 2000 fighter jets. In this critical post, his flying skills and leadership qualities ushered in a new paradigm of air warfare tactics. which eventually raised IAF's operational capabilities to a global level. On promotion to Air Marshal in 2002, he served as Senior Air Staff Officer in Central and Eastern Air Commands. He was then appointed as a C-in-C of Strategic Forces Command as a pioneer of India's nuclear forces. In early 2005, he took charge as Vice Chief of Air Staff and retired in 2006 October. During his illustrious career, he was awarded Vayu Sena Medal Gallantry, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, and Param Vishisht Seva Medal for exceptional services rendered to the nation. Throughout this conversation, we are very sure that you're going to learn about how to make a career in the Air Force.
So, sir, how are you doing today? It is a pleasure to be with you. How do you feel today?
Yes, I feel it's very excited to be talking to you guys from my alma mater.
So I'd like to know, what is the nature of work in the Indian Air Force like, and what does a day in the life of an Indian Air Force officer like? Could you please give us an insight?
Well, the Air Force has I'd like to just say that the group which you work with, they have to be very homogeneous, in order to work efficiently. As I said, the support has to be very strong. In many other jobs, you can be an individual. You can sit on your computer and you can do a great, success for your company. But in the Air Force, in particular, as I said, it also applies to the armed forces, the rest, the Army and the Navy. There is this homogeneous requirement to be working together, and that gives you a sense of great joy, because each one is there with you either in the daytime or in the evening, even with your family. Your family is getting supported. If I give you a specific example, that when you get out in the morning, you sometimes go for flying early morning. It can be like 5:30 in the morning. If you have to fly at 5:30, that is when the sun is rising. Then you have to calculate backwards. What time do you arise? What time do you go for work? What time do you get to your what's called briefing? And the briefings are very exhaustive. You have to be very specific. Just remember, the responsibility on all of us, the pilots, is very deep. You're flying today Rafale, which is 700-800 crores per aircraft. It's a huge amount of responsibility to be able to be absolutely perfect in your abilities to fly, your abilities to deliver the weapons, and have the support people around you also be with you all the time. So that brings you into a position where you as a leader have to prove yourself. And leadership is something that the Air Force teaches you. Not merely it is thrust into you, it is not merely instilled into you, but it becomes part of your life. It's a self-discipline. You find that even today, after so many years, I feel that I'm very self-disciplined. It's a good feeling, because you see if around you some people are walking in a different way. You can identify an Air Force guy. You can identify an armed forces person. He'll be walking ramrod straight with a head high, very proud of what he's doing. And he himself gets a feel-good factor, because he's had a great background. He's flying one of the top planes of the world, the fighter jets. Or besides fighter jets, you have these huge, airlift planes, the transport planes, the C-17s, which have come in recently. You have the C-130s, then you have the attack helicopters. There is a huge number of aeroplanes that today we have in the Air Force. The Air Force has grown very significantly from what it was in 1947 when we got independence. We had 9 squadrons. Today we have 35 squadrons of fighter jets. And besides that, we have a whole lot of other. You have got the transport planes, you have the support services, you have the surface-to-air missiles, and it's a very, very vast Air Force today. We are the 4th largest in the world, as you know. And we are very proud of that, I must say. So if I once again get down to specifics and tell you what do I do on a daily basis, well, you start your flying early morning, then you get back from the first mission. After you finish your first mission, it takes a long time to debrief, we call it, that you sit down all together, how did the mission go? Did you deliver the weapons at the right place? Did you go at the correct time? You know, time is a great factor here. When I said self-discipline, if you have to hit a target at 0600 hours, you can't be 1 minute late. You can't be 30 seconds late, you know. So that's the type of accuracy and that's the type of professionalism that is set into our system, into our bodies, into our minds. And so that's what I said, getting back to it. The debrief involves how did you perform? How did we normally go up, especially the fighter pilots, in 4 or 6 numbers, and we come back and then we talk about how we performed, you know, just to make sure that the next mission is better than this mission, to analyze if things have gone right or they haven't gone, what went wrong, who did the right thing, who didn't do the right thing. So that's the mission, that's the flying part of it. Then we come back and then we have a lot of duties to perform in terms of, you know, settling down, and you have a squadron. A squadron is about, 16, 18 planes, and you have about 20, 24 pilots. Then you have a technical engineers, you have the administrative people. They're all around you, you know, we interact very closely with them. So then, you know, you fly again. Sometimes you have a, afternoon mission. Sometimes you fly in the night mission. And then, you know, along with that, some of us go off for sports facilities. We have a lot of sports facilities in the airbase, you know. Let me just go back and tell you what is an airbase all about in the Air Force. We are based all over the country. You have like Ambala, you have Gwalior, you have Pathankot. All these places have got nice big air bases which are very well defended from the enemy. You know, defended when I mean, then they all have surface to air missiles. So if the plane from the other side comes in, you can, you know, shoot it down. So these things are all these stations and bases are well defended. When you enter a base, you know, you're in a different environment. It's like an island of excellence. You know, it's neat, it's clean, the people are very dignified, they give you a lot of respect, and you'll never see people slouching around. You know, it's a great feeling. I must say, if you have the opportunity to visit an airbase, you'll see everybody walking ramrod straight. You know, nobody's slouching. Everybody is, you can see the pride in their face. Their heads are high, and they feel that they are serving the nation. It's a good feeling. And that base itself has so many facilities. It's got the runway where you play, and the squadrons where the planes are based, and we fly from there. Besides that, you have excellent sports facilities. You have, you know, swimming, you have hockey, you have squash, you have tennis, just about everything. And in the evenings, you have an Air Force club, you know. It's called the Air Force Mess. And you can go there, you can, you know, have a dinner, you can bring your family there, things like that. So the day passes very, very fast. And, the very next day, you're back again in the air, you're flying. And the flying is not only the flying, the entire, structure of the Air Force is such that you enjoy what you're doing. How would you like to say that tomorrow morning, I want to get to work because I enjoy my work? You know, that degree of satisfaction is more than any amount of money that you get. So, firstly, let me say, the money you get in the Air Force and the Armed Forces is more than enough. Many people have this fallacy that the armed forces are not paid well. They are paid rather well. But more than that, it's all this that I talked to you about. You're in a base where you can go off, your family is safe, there's security, your children go to school, they don't have to worry about, that they have to put them in a bus and the schools are all inside. So they're looked after and you enjoy your job. All this put together is much more than anything else you get outside. I was the MD of a Tata company after I retired, and I saw what difference there is. Of course, the Tatas are great people to work with, the finest we have. Yet the work that you do in the service, in the Air Force, is quite different. It's quite different. It gives you a lot of satisfaction, a lot of pride, and you feel very dignified about it. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, for an extremely informative answer. This was it has encompassed everything which we wanted to hear from you. Thank you so much. However, to add on it, so you talked about how there has been an increase in people trying to get into the air forces since 1947. So based on that, my question to you is, how has its scope in your personal opinion increased, and how has this as a profession in India increased?
Well, the world has changed so much since 1947. You are well aware of that, and you guys perhaps know better than me today what are the challenges that you face. So one of the main challenges that we have today is that our nation is getting stronger, but you find that you have two neighbors around you. You have Pakistan, you have China, and both of them are adversaries to us. They're not great friends, So when you have two neighbors who are adversaries and who are wanting to pounce on you, you better be strong. What is the best way of defending yourself is to have a deterrence, means to have a force which is so strong that your enemy or your adversary is worried, doesn't consider himself to be safe if he attacks you. So the Air Force has therefore considered all that. And we used to be a small tactical Air Force. Tactical Air Force meaning that you have small planes which go and help the army, and the targets are small. Now we have become a strategic Air Force. It means that we have planes which can fly for thousands of miles, and we have, systems which can refuel in the air. So you don't even have to come back and land and then refuel your plane. You can refuel it in the air, and you can keep flying for 8 hours, 16 hours, any amount, because you have these huge refuelers. And then you have these AVACs. Now all these are known as force multipliers, and we have them today in the Air Force. So the Air Force has grown so rapidly, and it's become so, I would say, muscled. There is enough muscle in the Air Force for the Chinese and the Pakistanis to be worried about us. So that's the nature of expansion that has taken place over the years. It's something that, is like when I was the Vice Chief of the Air Force, I was looking after operations. All matters related to operations means how is the Pakistanis doing, how are the Chinese doing, what sort of systems they have, and we must have something better than they have. So those strategic calculations are made by us. We sit together, we have our staff who assesses what has the Chinese got, what have the Pakistanis got, and therefore what should we get. And it's not as a reaction to what they have, but as an initiative that we must have that we must have more and better stuff than they. And not only that, it's the training that you get. The training has to be very advanced, it has to be very professional. So all that put together today, the Air Force has become very, very professional. I'm not saying it wasn't earlier, but you have to be more professional because your enemies, your adversaries are also building up their capabilities. And we need to ensure that we deter them. Deterrence is all ensuring you're strong enough to ensure that the other guy doesn't come and attack you. He's worried. That is deterrence. And we also have a nuclear deterrence, as you know, nuclear weapons, and in fact, commanding the nuclear forces at one time. So it's a big, vast subject which I will.
So thank you so much for helping us understand how the scope of the Indian Air Force has increased. Would you like to share your own insight about how you prepared, and what was it like to prepare when you were doing that 60 years ago?
Well, I was very fascinated from my childhood with with flying, with naval activities. I also had a personal relative of mine who was,